The air on the alien outpost was warm and quiet. It was just another supply day. Eli, a human cargo worker, walked slowly through the outer corridor of base station. Zaytanine. He pushed a floating cart full of medical packs and food containers. His job was simple: to deliver supplies to different parts of the station and return before sunset. He liked this job. It was calm, quiet, and no one bothered him. But today would not be calm. Today would change everything. As he turned a corner near the east wing, Eli heard something strange: tiny footsteps. Light, fast, not human. He stopped. Then he saw her, a small alien girl, no older than 10 in human years, stood in the hallway. Her skin was soft lavender. Her large silver eyes were wide with fear. Her black hair was tied back, and she wore a torn blue robe that looked far too big for her. She looked lost. Before Eli could speak, she looked at him, and screamed. Not a normal scream. A scream full of fear and warning. Eli dropped the cart and looked behind him. Nothing. Then flash. A glowing red light shot from the shadow straight toward the alien girl. Without thinking, Eli jumped. He didn't think about the danger. He didn't think about his life. He just moved. His body hit the girl, and they both crashed to the floor. The energy blast struck Eli in the back. Pain exploded through his spine. His body froze. His vision blurred. He heard only one sound. The alien girl was crying. Soldiers rushed in, shouting in alien languages. More footsteps. Weapons drawn. The attacker vanished into thin air. Cloaked by high-tech gear, Eli felt cold. The girl crawled beside him, her small hands touching his burned back. He tried to speak, but no words came. Then everything went dark. Eli woke up to the sound of beeping machines and a sharp smell of metal and medicine. The lights were too bright. He blinked slowly. His body didn't move. Pain hugged every part of him. Double quotes, human, ... Awake, ... Someone whispered. He turned his head. It was the alien girl. She sat beside his bed, her eyes red from crying. She looked small and fragile, but also ... calm. Her hand was on his chest, right over his heart. Double quotes, you ... She began softly. You saved me. Eli coughed, his throat dry. Are you ... okay? She nodded quickly, then pressed something on the table. A group of alien doctors walked in, tall beings with smooth green skin and bright white robes. They spoke in their native tongue. But one of them had a translator. He should not be alive, the translator said. The blast was deadly. The lead doctor looked at the little girl. What did you do, Zari? I helped him, she answered. But how? The girl, Zari, looked down at her hands. I don't know. It just ... happened. Later that night, as most of the lights dimmed and the doctors left the room, Zari stayed close. Eli was awake, but weak. You have a name? He asked. She nodded. Zari. I'm Eli. She tilted her head, curious. Why did you save me? He thought for a moment. Then he gave a weak smile. Because you were just a kid. And you were scared. Her lips trembled. No one has ever protected me before, she said. There was a long silence. Then she whispered, you are ... different. The next morning, guards surrounded the medical wing. Higher officers arrived. The base commander wanted answers. Why was an alien child alone in the corridor? Who sent the attacker? Why did the human survive? No one had answers. But then one of the guards came forward. He had seen something unusual. When the child cried and touched him, the guard said, his wounds began to heal. Her hands glowed. Everyone looked at Zari. She lowered her head. The commander gave the order, separate them. This is too dangerous. As soldiers stepped forward to take her away, Zari suddenly grabbed Eli's hand. "No," she cried. "He is my protector now." Everyone froze. Eli stared at her. Confused, the lead doctor whispered something to the commander. "This might be a bonding." "What's a bonding?" Eli asked, still weak. The doctor looked at him carefully. "In her culture, it's rare. Sacred when a life is saved by sacrifice. A bond forms, deep, unbreakable. It connects souls." Eli looked down. At the girl's hand, it was glowing, and so was his. Something had happened. Something bigger than he. Understood. Zari sat beside Eli's hospital bed, her legs crossed, her small hands glowing faintly. She hadn't moved for hours. Eli's chest rose and fell slowly. The machines showed weak signals. The doctors had done all they could, but they didn't believe he would live. The energy blast had torn through his back, damaging nerves, organs, and bone. Any other human would have died instantly. Even now, Eli remained unconscious, his face pale and sweating. The doctors had left the room, whispering that he had maybe one night left. But Zari wasn't giving up. She leaned forward and whispered in her soft alien voice, "I won't let you die. Not after what you did for me." She placed both hands over his heart, closed her eyes, and began to hum low and deep. A strange melody that vibrated through the walls. Her skin shimmered with a silver glow. Her hair lifted slightly as if floating in water. Suddenly, the machines beeped, louder lines on the monitors spiked. His heart rate stabilized. Zari didn't stop. The light from her hands grew brighter, forming patterns over Eli's chest, ancient alien symbols, soft and flowing like wind. Then his body jerked. He took a deep, shuddering breath. His eyes opened. Zari gasped and quickly pulled back, her hands still glowing. "Eli," she whispered. He blinked, his voice cracked. "Zari." She smiled, eyes filling with tears. "You came back," she said softly. "I brought you back." Outside, alarms started to ring. The guards rushed to the medical wing. Senior alien officers ran in with weapons drawn. "Step away from the human." One barked. Zari stood up, her tiny body trembling, but her glowing hands raised in front of her like a shield. "Don't hurt him," she said, standing between Eli and the guards. The head doctor pushed through the crowd and stopped in shock. His vitals ... They've normalized? That's impossible. Zari looked up, her voice calm. "I healed him." "That's not healing," another scientist said. "That's something more ... powerful." One of the officers narrowed his eyes. "Where did you learn this?" "I didn't learn it," she replied. "I just ... happened. I wanted him to live." They placed the room under lockdown. Zari was not allowed to leave Eli's side, and no one was allowed in except the medical team. Tests were done. Scans were taken. What they found confused everyone. Eli's cells were changing, slowly, quietly, but clearly. His blood had traces of alien energies, Ares energy. "It's not dangerous," the doctor said. "But it means one thing. They're linked, bonded." Another corrected. "It's real." Back in the room, Eli sat up with Zari beside him. His body still ached, but he felt ... alive. "Zari," he asked softly, "what did you do to me?" She looked down, nervous. "I didn't mean to do anything, but when I touched you, I felt something inside me wake up. Something I didn't know I had." He stared at her glowing hand. "That power. It saved me." She nodded. "It only worked because ... you jumped in front of me. That created the bond." "What kind of bond?" Zari hesitated. "In my people's history, It's called a life bond, only formed when one being risks their life to protect another without expecting anything in return. Sounds rare. It is. Most of us don't believe it even exists anymore. It's an ancient thing, a sacred thing. Just then, a high-ranking alien ambassador entered the room, flanked by armored guards. His robe was black with golden patterns. His face was old and sharp. He looked at Eli coldly. "You are the human who took the blast." Eli nodded slowly. "You should not be alive. I get that a lot today." The ambassador turned to Zari. "You have formed a life bond with a human. Do you understand the danger?" Zari stood tall despite her size. "Yes. Then you also understand what this means. If the bond is broken, both of you may die." Eli's eyes widened. "Wait, what?" The ambassador ignored him. "Zari, you are not just a child. You are the last living member of the Terathlina bloodline, believed extinct. That's why the assassin targeted you." "What?" Eli asked. "She's a target." Zari looked down, ashamed. "I didn't tell you. I was trying to hide. That's why I was alone in the hallway." The ambassador continued. "And now, because of you, human, the enemy knows she's still alive and that she is bonded to one of your kind." Eli stood up slowly, pain in his legs, but fire in his voice. "I don't care who she is. She's a kid. She didn't deserve to die." The ambassador studied him for a moment, then he turned and left. Later that night, while soldiers watched outside the glass walls, Eli and Zari sat in silence. "Are you afraid now?" Zari asked. Eli looked at her. "No," he said. "But I'm starting to realize saving you was only the beginning." Zari nodded. "Now we're in this together," she said softly. He smiled. "Then I guess we better stick close." Her hand glowed again. So did his. Eli sat up in bed for the first time in days. His body still ached, but his strength was returning. The lights in the room were dim, and two alien guards stood outside the glass wall, watching. But Eli's eyes were focused only on her Zari. She sat in the corner of the room, curled up in a soft chair, knees pulled to her chest. Her eyes were half closed, but she didn't sleep. She hadn't slept much since the incident. He cleared his throat. "Zari." She opened her eyes slowly, and the moment she saw him fully awake, her body moved fast. She rushed to his bedside and grabbed his hand tightly. Like she was afraid he'd vanish again. "You're really awake," she whispered. "I'm here," he said. "Thanks to you." Tears formed in her silver eyes. One rolled down her cheek. "I thought I lost you," she said. "I thought I was a goner too." He smiled weakly. But Zari didn't smile. Instead, she looked at him with a seriousness no child should have in her eyes. "You need to know something," she said. Eli nodded. She took a breath. "I chose you." He blinked. "What?" Zari's voice was soft but clear. "When I touched your heart, I didn't just heal you. I claimed you." Eli sat still. Zari looked nervous, like she was afraid he'd get angry. "In my culture," Q said, "when someone saves your life by risking their own, and you return that gift with your soul, it becomes a sacred bond." "I've heard of that," Eli replied. "They called it a life bond." Zari shook her head slowly. "This is more. This is a guardian binding. It means I trust you to protect me forever. But it also means I chose you as something more than a protector." Eli raised an eyebrow. "More?" She hesitated. "In my people's history," she whispered, "choosing a guardian is the first step toward choosing a future mate." Eli's mouth dropped open. "Wait, what? I'm your what?" Zari quickly waved her hands. "Not now. Not like that. I'm still a child. That part doesn't matter yet. but the choice does. I chose you. That means no one can take me away without breaking the bond. And breaking the bond hurts both sides. Eli sat back, heart racing. You're serious? Zari nodded. I didn't mean to do it at first. It just happened. But once the light appeared, it was sealed. Eli rubbed his face. This is way more than I thought. He looked at the glowing mark still faintly shining on his palm. It pulsed in sync with Zari's. So what does this mean for us? Zari looked up at him with those wide silver eyes. It means we're family now. An hour later, the ambassador returned. He looked at Eli and Zari, then placed a small glowing cube on the table. You're being moved? Moved? Eli asked, why? The attack was not random. We believe the assassin was part of a larger group. There may be more. Zari's hand gripped Eli's sleeve tightly. Where are you sending us? Eli asked. To a hidden location. A secure facility in the outer forests of Karaprim. You'll be watched, but safe. Eli looked down at Zari, who now seemed smaller than ever. He nodded. Fine. We'll go. The ambassador paused. Understand this, human. What's between you and the girl is no longer just a private matter. The moment the bond was sealed, you became part of an old prophecy. Eli frowned. There are ancient texts. They speak of a lost bloodline, protected by a soul from beyond the stars. If that legend is true, you may be more important than you realize. The next day, they left the station. Zari and Eli were flown in a quiet black shuttle over dark purple forests and bright blue rivers. Karaprim was one of the lesser-known alien worlds, peaceful and untouched by war. They landed near a hidden mountain base, where only trusted guards and a few scientists lived. Their room was simple, but large with windows showing the trees and sky. For the first time in days, Zari smiled. It's quiet. She said, too quiet. Eli replied. They laughed together for a moment. It felt normal, but normal wouldn't last. That night, Zari woke up screaming. Eli rushed to her bed. Zari, what happened? She was shaking, her eyes wide with fear. I saw it, she whispered. Another attack. He had red eyes and a black suit. He said he was coming for me, and for you. It was just a nightmare, Eli said gently. But deep down, he didn't believe that, because at that exact moment, the light on the outer gate turned red. Someone had breached the security field, the silent night at the Karaprim. Mountain base was broken by a soft alarm, 3 quick pulses, then silence. It wasn't loud, but it was serious. Eli opened his eyes immediately. His instincts had become sharp after the attack on Zari. He sat up from the couch where he had fallen asleep watching over her. Zari was already awake, sitting on the edge of her bed, staring at the glowing red dot on the ceiling. It's happening, she whispered. Eli moved to the window. Outside, he saw flashes in the trees. Movement, shadows. Not guards, strangers. Zari slid off the bed and moved to him. It's them, she said. I saw them in my dream. Eli's stomach tightened. Stay close. The door to their room suddenly unlocked. Click. Eli turned fast, raising the short pulsatile he'd kept hidden from the guards. A gift from one of the soldiers who had started to trust him. The door opened. But it wasn't the base staff. 2 tall figures entered, dressed in black armor with glowing red visors. They didn't speak. One of them pointed at Zari. Target secured, came the cold, robotic voice from the helmet. No, Zari whispered, stepping behind Eli. Eli stood tall. You're not taking her. The second soldier stepped forward, raising a paralyzer weapon. But before he could fire, Zari let out a sharp, echoing scream. It wasn't loud. It was deep. It shook the room, and the glass wall behind them cracked suddenly. Eli felt something strange, warm energy moving through his veins. His hands glowed faintly. heart beat faster. Zari's fear had activated the bond again. One of the soldiers stumbled back, gripping his helmet like something was hurting him inside. The second one fired. The pole shot straight at Zari. Eli didn't think. He moved between them again, but this time, the blast stopped in the air frozen. Zari's hand was raised. Her eyes were glowing, so were his. The blast disintegrated midair. The soldier stared in shock. She's activated the echo bond, one whispered. Fall back. We weren't told she had awakened. They turned and ran. Eli stepped into the hallway, chasing after them. But they were gone, vanished into the trees like shadows. Base guards arrived moments later. Too late. The enemy had tested their defenses. Back inside, Zari sat curled on the bed, her hands shaking. Eli sat beside her and gently placed a blanket over her shoulders. I couldn't stop shaking, she whispered. I thought they'd take me again. He looked at her. You didn't freeze, Zari. You screamed, and you stopped the blast. But only because you stood in front again, she said. Why do you keep doing that? Because you matter, Eli said. To who? She asked. To my people. They don't even want me. He looked at her for a long moment. To me, he said. You matter to me. Zari's eyes filled with tears. And this time, she didn't try to hide them. The next morning, the commander of the base called for a meeting. Zari and Eli were brought to a secure chamber under the mountain. Several high-ranked alien leaders joined via hologram. One was from the Council of Elders. There is no question, said the elder. She is now a danger to herself and others. She's a child, Eli said. She's a beacon now, the elder replied. Others will sense the bond. They will come for her again. She must be placed in isolation. Zari's face went pale. No, she cried. Don't take me from him. The elder's tone sharpened. You bonded with an outsider. A human. We cannot trust what you've become. Suddenly, Zari stepped forward. Her voice was steady. You will listen to me now. Everyone turned to her. I didn't choose to be born from the bloodline you fear. But I did choose Eli, and I would rather die than break the bond. Eli's heart skipped a beat. The elder leaned back. Then said, then he will be tested. Eli raised a brow. Tested how? He claimed to protect her, the elder said. Then prove your worth. That evening, a private file was sent to Eli's room. Inside was a map and a message. Bring her to the Temple of Thraka. Protect her through the forest. Survive 3 nights. If you both live, the bond will be honored. Zari stared at the map, then looked at him. It's a trap, she whispered. Maybe, Eli said. But it's also our chance. Chance for what? For them to see what I already know, he answered. That I'm not leaving you, no matter what. Zari smiled a small one. But this time, it wasn't a sad smile. It was proud as they packed their small supplies. Zari asked one question. Eli, if something happens to you, if you get hurt again, I still bring you back. He looked at her glowing hands, then placed his over hers. I don't know, he said. But I know this. If someone tries to hurt you again, I'll make sure I'm the last thing they see. Zari nodded. Then she whispered, let's go. Together, they stepped into the forest trail under the twin moons. Unaware of the dangers ahead, but ready because they had each other. The twin moons of Cora Prime lit the forest with a strange silver light. Tall glowing trees whispered in the wind as if they knew secrets they would never tell. Eli and Zari walked in silence through the soft dirt path that led deeper into the wilds. The Temple of Thraka was still 2 days away. Zari walked close beside Eli, her small hand gripping his tightly. Neither spoke for a long time. The forest was peaceful, but not safe. Every sound could be a hunter, a spy, or worse. Someone sent to stop them from reaching the temple alive. But Eli didn't fear the shadows. His eyes were focused on Zari. He had questions, and she had answers. That night, they set up camp under a giant tree shaped like a twisted claw. The leaves above glowed faint blue, casting soft light across their small fire. Eli handed Zari a piece of dried food. She took it slowly, not hungry, but polite. He watched her, then finally asked, "Zari, what aren't you telling me?" She looked down. Her fingers tightened around the food. "I know there's more to this bond," Eli said. "The way they speak about you. The way even the council seems afraid." Zari didn't look up. "I deserve to know," he added. "Please." After a long pause, Zari spoke. But her voice was different, lower, heavier. As if the words were old and painful. "My people are made of many bloodlines," she began. But long ago, one line rose above the rest. It had power, not just political, but spiritual. Energy that could heal or destroy. She looked into the fire. That line was called Thraka. Eli's eyes narrowed, like the temple. She nodded. "Yes, it was built to protect our people. From that power, and from ourselves. What does that have to do with you?" Zari finally looked at him. "I carry that blood." Silence fell between them. "I was hidden after I was born," she said. "My mother gave me away. She feared what I would become. They thought I died. But I didn't. I lived in shadows. I was taught to stay quiet, to never awaken the power inside me." Eli's mouth was dry. "But when I saved you," she nodded. "The bond broke the seal. That's why your hands glowed." Zari held them up. A soft silver light appeared across her palms. "I'm not just some air, Eli. I'm a living key to an ancient force. One they fear, and some want to control." Eli stood slowly and stepped away from the fire. He needed a moment. Zari watched him quietly. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't mean to pull you into this. I just didn't want to be alone anymore." Eli turned back. "You didn't pull me into anything. I jumped in, remember?" She smiled weakly. "But now you know," she said, "what I am. What I might become." Eli walked over, knelt beside her, and took her hands gently. "I don't care what power you have, Zari. You're still that scared little girl who screamed. And I'm still the fool who dove in front of you." Zari's lip trembled. "You're not a fool." "I might be," he said. "But I'd do it again." Suddenly, a loud screech echoed from the trees. Eli stood and drew his pulse pistol. "Stay." "Behind me," he whispered. But Zari stood too. Her eyes narrowed. "Wait," she said, from the darkness. A figure stepped out covered in leaves and old armor. An old alien, hunched in gray, with a long walking stick and glowing green eyes. "You are late," the old one said. "I expected you sooner." Eli didn't lower his gun. "Who are you?" The old one chuckled. "I am the keeper of the path. I protect the road to Thraka." Zari stepped forward. "Is it true that the temple still holds the seal?" The old alien studied her. "You've already broken one," he said, "but the final test lies ahead." He pointed into the trees. "There is a beast that guards the gate. It doesn't listen to words, it listens to the soul." "What does that mean?" Eli asked. "It will attack," the keeper said. "But if you two truly carry the bond, it will stop. If not, it will kill." Zari stepped forward, voice clear. "We accept," the keeper nodded. "Then walk with truth in your heart. For tomorrow, either the temple will open, or it will bury you both." Later, in the quiet of night, Zari lay close to Eli under the glowing leaves. "Eli, yeah, if I don't pass the test, you will. But if I don't promise me something, no." She blinked. "No, I won't promise anything except this," he said. "I'll be there, right beside you. Whatever happens, Zari smiled in the dark. For the first time in her life, she believed it. Asterisk morning came with a thick mist over the forest. The glowing trees looked ghostly. Even the birds were silent. Eli checked the map again. They were close, now just one more ridge before the path reached the gates of the Temple of Thraka. Zari stood beside him, her eyes serious, her hood pulled low. They had barely spoken since sunrise. The weight of what was ahead facing the beast, proving the bond hung between them like fog. But neither of them knew. The real danger was already behind them. High above, in the trees. A shadow moved, silent, watching. The same assassin who had fired the first blast at Zari was back, but this time he wasn't alone. He had waited, studied, followed them for days, and now, as they stepped into the narrow stone path toward the temple gate, he made his move. Zari was the first to feel it. She stopped. Eli. He froze. I feel it too. His bond mark burned slightly. Then ZZZT. A red pulse shot through the air. Missing Eli by inches, he spun and fired back without hesitation, hitting nothing. Run. He shouted .zar. I darted behind a tree, but Eli didn't move. He stayed out in the open. Come on, he shouted into the trees. You want me? Try it. The assassin stepped into view tall, dressed in black armor, helmet smooth and faceless. But his voice came cold and clear. You should have stayed out of this, human. Eli raised his pistol again. You tried to kill a child. She is not a child, the assassin hissed. She is a key to destruction, a curse that must be stopped before it grows. You don't get to decide that. I do, the assassin said, raising his weapon. And I will. He fired. Eli jumped behind cover, but this time he didn't run. He fought. The blast left a scar in the tree bark. Eli rolled across the forest floor, popped up on one knee, and returned fire. Boom. Shot hit the assassin's shoulder. Sparks flew, but the assassin didn't stop. He leaped from a tree, landing with deadly speed. Zari screamed, Eli! The assassin swung a blade from his wrist. Eli blocked with his forearm, taking the hit, but this time something strange happened. The blade hit his arm, but didn't cut. His skin shimmered, glowed. The bond, the energy from Zari, was protecting him. The assassin hesitated. Eli didn't. He grabbed the assassin by the chest, plate, and slammed him into a tree. Not this time. He growled. He pulled the helmet off. Underneath was a Fosselian. Scarred, cold eyes burning with hate. You're just a tool, Eli said. You don't even know why you hate her. The assassin spat blood. She will burn planets. I'm stopping a war before it begins. Zari stepped forward. No, she said. You're feeding the fire, not stopping it. The assassin raised a knife, but before he could throw it, Zari raised her hand. The light from her palm shot out, not a beam, not a blast, but a pulse of soft silver that wrapped around the assassin's body. He screamed, dropped the knife, and collapsed, not dead, but paralyzed. Eli stared at her, breathing hard. You saved me again. Zari walked to him, slowly. No, she said. I protected you. That's what the bond really means. We protect each other. Later, after tying the assassin to a tree with energy cuffs, Eli and Zari reached the gates of the Temple of Thraka. The massive stone door stood taller than any tree. It had no handle, no lock, just a circle of symbols. Eli touched it. Nothing happened. Then Zari stepped forward. She pressed her glowing hand to the center. The circle lit up, but then something unexpected happened. The symbols moved, and a deep voice echoed from the stone itself to souls. One bond, one truth. Show me your heart or be destroyed. Zari turned to Eli, suddenly scared. What does it mean? Eli stepped up beside her. I think it wants us to face the truth. The gate opened slowly. Inside, it was dark as they stepped into the temple. They saw a giant statual woman with eyes like Zari's, holding a sword in one hand and a child in the other. Zar, I whispered. That's the first bonded queen. Suddenly, light surrounded them, and a beast formed from smoke and stone dropped from above. It growled, massive and terrifying, with glowing red eyes. Zari stood frozen. Don't move, Eli said. The beast stepped forward, growling louder. Zari's heart pounded. It's going to attack. Eli grabbed her hand. I trust you, he said, voice steady. Do you trust me? She looked up at him and nodded. The bond marks on their palms lit up like fire. The beast lunged, but stopped inches away from them, then, slowly, it lowered its head and disappeared. They had passed together. The temple of Tharaka was no longer silent. As the stone beast vanished into smoke, the room filled with soft silver light. The carved walls glowed with ancient symbols that had not moved for centuries. Zari and Eli stood side by side, their hands still glowing with the bond's light. They were both breathing hard, but their hearts beat together, calm and steady. They had passed the test. The ancient force within the temple had accepted them. But outside these walls, others were watching. High above the temple, in orbit, a council ship floated silently. Inside, rows of leaders, elders from across alien worlds, stared at the live projection glowing in front of them. They saw Zari standing proud. They saw Eli at her side. They saw the bond light flare between them like a thread made of living flame. Some elders gasped, others whispered. The prophecy, it's true. A human. No, not just a human. Her guardian, the head elder, a woman with 6 eyes and golden skin, stood slowly. Send the message, she said. All governments must see what has awakened. Back at the temple, Zari stepped forward. A new voice echoed across the chamber comm. Ancient female. Zari of the Tharaka line. You have proven courage. Eli of Earth. You have proven heart. The bond is real. The seal is opened. Before them, a hidden wall slid away, revealing a small altar. On it lay 2 items, a silver crown shaped like waves of flame, and a blade humming softly with quiet power. Zari stared at the crown. That's the crown of the first queen. Eli stepped back. Are you sure you want to do this? She turned to him. I never wanted power, she said. But if this bond can stop more killing, if it can protect people like you protected me, then I have to try. He nodded. And I'll be with you. She smiled, and together, they stepped forward. Zari placed the crown on her head. The silver light wrapped around her like a cloak. Eli placed his hand on the hilt of the blade. A wave of energy rushed through the temple. The bond was complete, and the galaxy felt it. Back at the base, the council ship landed. Crowds of aliens had gathered, confused and curious. News spread fast about the temple, the crown, the girl. When Zari and Eli stepped out of the ship and onto the landing platform, a silence fell. Then, a single voice shouted, "The bonded queen lives." More voices followed. Cheers, cries, tears. Some bowed. Some simply watched. Shocked, Dari took Eli's hand and stepped forward. The council leaders formed a circle around them. One elder asked, "Sorry, what will you do now?" She looked around at them, at the fear in some faces, at the hope in others. "I will not rule with fear," she said. "I will not bring war." She held up Eli's hand. "This human saved me when no one else would. Not because I had a title, not because I had power. He saved me because he saw someone who needed help. She looked at Eli, and now I will do the same for every lost child, every ignored voice, every forgotten corner of this galaxy. 1. Elder stepped forward. And what of the bond? Will it bind you forever to this human? Zari smiled. No, she said. It already has. Eli blinked. Wait, what? The crowd laughed softly. Zari whispered, we'll talk about that later. That night, as the stars glowed overhead, Eli and Zari stood on the balcony of the palace the council had given them. It still felt strange. Yesterday, they were running through forests. Today, people were calling her queen. I'm not ready for this, Zari said quietly. You don't have to be perfect, Eli replied. Just be you. She leaned her head against his shoulder. Do you think we really made a difference? Eli looked out at the sky. I don't know, he said. But I think we started something. Zari looked up at him, her silver eyes soft. Thank you for jumping in front of that blast, he chuckled. You're welcome. Though next time, maybe. You jump in front of me, Zari grinned, then raised her hand. It glowed brighter than ever. I will.